Hey everyone, Adrian here from the Gaming Observer. I'm making a video today which I think is pretty interesting. I recently acquired a box of stuff from my mother. We moved into a new home, I have an office now, it's really cool, and that means I have a lot more places to put things and I don't have to keep stuff at my mom's house. And so she said, here, take some of your stuff back, and I took a look through and there's a whole bunch of video games. It's a giant bin of video games. And as I'm going through them, there's just a whole bunch of history and experiences that were coming to mind, and I thought, geez, I should just talk about this kind of thing on camera. So I'm going to go ahead and go through like just a ton of individual video games here. I'm also looking around because I have a cat wandering around, so you might see an appearance from my new roommate's cat up here. He can be kind of annoying, but we'll see if he makes an appearance. I'm also recording this pretty late at night, so the lighting might change over time. I might have to go turn an overhead light on. I have no idea what the lighting is going to look like, you know, just with a regular light bulb. So we'll see what happens. In any event, there are a ton of games in here, so if this ends up being a long video, please do check out the timestamps in the description. If there is no timestamps, then maybe it's just worth watching the whole thing, and you know, as it is. And yeah, let's get started here. So, the first one that I put on top, because these were the first games that I've actually already busted out to start playing with housemates, are the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games. So, I brought down 3 of them. We have more than this, but we have Guitar Hero Smash Hits, and unfortunately, so this was my favorite Guitar Hero when I was a kid, and unfortunately, the disc is no more. We have no idea where it is, and that sucks. I'm actually, like... I'm going to go looking on the secondhand market for this game because I loved all the songs that were on here. Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock is also here. We've been playing a lot of this one recently. And Rock Band, the classic. We also have Rock Band 3 upstairs. But I chose these ones in particular because I have played a lot of Guitar Hero. Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. I wish there was a way that Xbox could... track these things from, you know, when I was a teenager, but I played a lot of it offline, and, you know, it would be really impossible to track, but, and in any event, we were really amazed. We still had some Guitar Hero controllers, we still had some microphones, and so Shelby, my partner, and my roommate Jordan, we've just been playing this game like a ton, because it's a throwback to what we used to do. You know, this was the ultimate party game for so long. You know, now it's Jackbox and some board games and stuff like that. It's pretty rare that you're going to bust out Guitar Hero in 2021, but it still holds up. It's a tremendous game. And yeah, I mastered Guitar Hero at a pretty young age. When I say mastered, I mean I can play most songs on Expert. And, you know, back in the day, you would go on, like, YouTube and you would Google, you know, people playing the game on Expert or whatever, and you would sometimes see kids doing it and be like, wow, look at those kids, they can do that. I was one of those kids. I was never put on YouTube, but I was one of those kids that just dedicated all of my time to playing Guitar Hero, and you know, I don't know. I think when I was a kid, I was very much someone who appreciated attention. I was an only child. I don't know if there's any other explanations, but I very much loved when I would play Guitar Hero with other people around, and they go, wow, I can't believe you can do that. These days, it's just a fun game. You know, the challenge of doing so many buttons at once is very exciting and fun to me. And it was also pretty interesting replaying these games because there's some muscle memory built in there. A lot of these songs you don't really master until you've played them multiple times, and you learn the patterns, and you learn, you know, what are the individual challenges of these songs. And, you know, now that I'm here, I'm surprised at how much of those I actually remember. I was able to get through many of those songs. And then there's also a bunch of songs that I never did play when I was a teenager, and I'm approaching them for the first time. So, anyway... major part of my teenage years. Super happy to have them now. If you look on the secondhand market, they are so expensive, especially the accessories. And I just think if you have any opportunity to revisit games like this that, you know, you might have enjoyed in the past, it's definitely worth it. I know they re-released some games for modern consoles. I think both Rock Band and Guitar Hero got some re-releases. Might be worth looking into that. To be honest, I never really gave it a shot because I had this stuff and I was just willing to keep playing it. It really does hold up. Okay, now for the rest of this box, I pretty much am going in blind. I remember some stuff, but I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I also see some stuff in here that I don't even recognize, to be honest, so I might have gotten my stuff mixed in with others, but anyway. We can start here with Skyrim. Now, this is using the alternate cover. Yeah, I think on the inside you can see, if I take all... Here's the manual. Remember when games had manuals? I really miss that stuff. I mean, to be honest, I actually don't know if games still have manuals because I buy all my games digitally now. That's what's so cool about doing this, is that all my games are digital these days. I don't have the ability to look at them physically, and so, you know, being able to see this stuff is pretty cool. Anyway, if I take the disc out here, you can see the inside cover actually has the proper... let me get the lighting right there. Yeah, you can see it here. But yeah, I like to use the alternate covers if they ever provided them. Skyrim is one of those games for me that I believe the game came out in 2010. Actually, I should check that. Let me see. Oh, okay, the game came out in November of 2011. So I was just about in middle school at this point. I was moving on to high school. And I looked at the game and I remember saying to myself, it's not all that interesting to me. I didn't really know who Bethesda was, to be honest. I didn't care all that much. In those days, I played a lot of Call of Duty and a lot of Guitar Hero and Minecraft, and those were kind of the only things I worried about. But I remember the game came out, and it made this huge splash. A bunch of kids at school were playing Skyrim. It's all the internet could really talk about at that time. And so anyway, I ended up picking it up at a certain point. I think one of my friends had gotten it. And yeah, I don't know. I think I haven't played Skyrim in a very long time, but when I did play it at the time, I very much enjoyed it. I had a tremendous time. I played the campaign, I think, twice. And then I also got all but 4 of the achievements. And I remember this particularly because around that time I was a big achievement hunter. I loved going for the 100%. And I wanted to do Skyrim, but I think one of the achievements I had locked myself out of because I didn't plan on getting the achievements until I had already played the game. And then I had done something that invalidated an achievement at some point. So that really sucked. If I wanted to get all the achievements, I had to start again from the beginning. And that's kind of like my last memory of playing the game. They obviously re-released it a bunch of times on other consoles and on PC. I've tried modded Skyrim on PC a lot of times through shared libraries with other people and stuff like that. Never really quite worked out for me. There's a lot of work to do that, and to be honest, most of the time as I was playing those modded versions of the games, I was like, this is just Skyrim but a little bit fancier. I could just be playing a different game that I haven't played before. So... anyway, I do think I enjoyed my time with Skyrim. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad that we're going to get an Elder Scrolls 6 because of the success of Skyrim. But I don't know. I don't really have any intentions of returning to it in the same way that a lot of people did. I will say, though, like I said, I played a lot of Call of Duty, a lot of Guitar Hero. Skyrim was one of those games that broke me out of that bubble and made me realize, oh, okay, there's so much more going on here. The other 2 games that always come to mind are Portal 2 and Fallout 3. Although I don't know if those games are in here, but we'll see. Next game is Grand Theft Auto 5, of course. Every teenage boy needs to have this, right? And I got this, again, around the same time. Actually, I believe I got it when it came out. Oh, wow, there's actually, like, multiple CDs in here. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, again, this is a game that, like Skyrim, made a big splash when it came out. Lots of people talking about it. In this case, I actually did want to get it. And, I don't know, again, I played the game once, I played the campaign mode, and then there was that delay. They delayed GTA Online for a few months, and I had some other friends that had the game, and we tried GTA Online when it came out, but the servers were so overloaded, and the 360 in particular, you know, I don't know about the other versions, but it was really hard to get into online lobbies. It was very janky, and we just didn't have a great experience in GTA Online. So I played the campaign once. I was happy. I had a good time, especially, again, for a teenage boy. And I don't know how it holds up in retrospect, to be honest. But again, I know this game came out on so many other consoles and on the next-gen versions and on PC and all that stuff. And I never bothered to buy it again. I'm assuming that GTA Online got a little bit better over time, but I just had no desire to return to it. And, you know, it's obviously this huge cash cow now, and everybody is playing it. But anyway, look at this. Look at this map that it comes with. Like, how much... I think these days you're only getting a map. Look at how big this is. I should just put it put it over here. I don't know if I want GTA on my wall. But anyway, yeah, I think these days you only get this kind of thing in special editions, right? This fit in a tiny little case. Can you believe it? That's wild. Anyway, so that's GTA. I don't know that I have too much more to say on it. like I said, I played the campaign once, you know? That's the game. I've never been much for the online multiplayers of games. Okay, I'm excited for this next one. We got Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge was a huge game for me. I started Mirror's Edge playing it as a demo. I was a huge demo player because I didn't spend any of my money. You know, I'd get money for birthdays and Christmas, and I would have like hundreds of dollars in my bank account at age 10, and I just wouldn't spend it. It would be there for video game spending and anything, and I just wouldn't spend it because I was always scared, oh, I might need this for something one day, or I might be disappointed with what I buy. And so, you know, when it came to video games, I just played a lot of demos. I would go in the 360 store and download things, and I saw this game that says, hey, parkour. And I'm like, ooh, parkour. I'm going to go try that out. Downloaded it, and it's just the first level of the game. Played it over and over and over and over. And eventually, you know, here you can say previously played. I bought it for $13. That's what 10-year-old me liked to see. I might have been a little older than 10, but anyway. I picked it up and played Mirror's Edge, and I played it a lot. I had a great time with this game. I still even go back to it every now and then. This is a game you're able to play through backwards compatibility on the Xbox One. And I don't know, I think this, again, I played it again recently. It holds up very, very well. The parkour feels, or I guess just the movement mechanics in general feel very good. And there's not many games that can pull off, like, hey, run around a giant city, or run around this little map that we designed and go wild and just have a good time. And it feels good just to move, you know? Kind of reminds me of like the Spider-Man games, where it's really fun to just go around the city and you know, in Spider-Man's case, you're web slinging. In this case, you're jumping over people and doing flips and stuff like that. They really did pull this off. The follow-up game, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, I also played and beat that within the last year. It's a good game. It's not as good as this, in my opinion. This game is a series of constructed levels. Mirror's Edge Catalyst was an open world that they wanted you to explore. And that's a great idea in theory, on paper, to say, hey, parkour, and you have a giant city. But in practice, the smaller levels, in my opinion, were better. You got to learn the levels, and the open world just ended up being so massive that I never really knew what to do, I guess. Anyway, tons of time in Mirror's Edge. Like, huge game for me, like I said. Okay, next up in this box is The Sims 3. I have zero memory of ever playing this on the 360. I have no idea where it came from. I think it might have just been in storage at my mom's place. My mom might have even played it, or it just came from someone else. So I'm going to put it on the pile, but I don't have anything to say about this one. Okay, I see some big ones here. I'm actually going to dig through and see if I can't find other games in this franchise. Okay, you ready for this one? That was pretty interesting to go through. Oh, am I done here? Yeah, I got them all. Okay, so this is probably the defining franchise or series of games in my teenage years. Much like GTA 5, it's probably not going to come to any surprise to you for a teenage boy to be in love with Call of Duty. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in particular, very, very good game. And I got it on the same day as that I got my actual 360. So for my birthday or for Christmas or so, I don't remember exactly what it was. My father was like, hey, we're going to get you a game console of your own instead of having to play his all the time, because I was playing so many video games. And so he said, let's go and get you a 360. So they got me a used 360, and they got me Modern Warfare 2 on the same day. This is, like, out of all the Call of Duties that I played, probably my favorite. It's the maps that I know the best, but also appreciate the most. The weapons, the sounds, all of it just give me this nostalgia that, I don't know, it's really interesting. I think if I had never played Call of Duty, at my current age, I would look at Call of Duty and be like, you know, who plays that kind of game? Like I look at Fortnite now, or I look at many other conventional games or popular games, and it's hard for me to relate to those games. It's hard, you know, I don't play them. I don't have an interest in them. I don't look down on them. They're popular for a reason. But I certainly, even today, I look at Call of Duty and I'm like, man, I could not play that now and enjoy it. But back then, like, this was my life, and I still even will boot up the game every now and then. And I mean, I haven't in a long time, but I would boot up this game and very much enjoy just the process of exploring it again. And so I went from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 to Call of Duty Black Ops to Modern Warfare 3 to Black Ops 2. And we actually have here 2 copies of Black Ops 2. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe one of these was my dad's and one of these was mine, or Jordan's or something. But anyway, yeah, we got 4 of them here. I played it for 4 years. And yeah, I don't know. I think they were all pretty good. Like, Black Ops had a great... Oh, I don't know how to organize this. Black Ops had a great campaign. Modern Warfare 2 also had a great campaign, to be honest. Modern Warfare 3 was my least favorite of the 4. At the time that it came out, I think a lot of people were unhappy with it. I don't know how it compares retrospectively. I do know that they made quite a few innovations, which were pretty interesting at the time, but anyway, that was not my favorite. I don't remember anything. I don't think I even played the campaign for this one. Same with Black Ops 2. You know, I liked the campaigns when I was younger of these games, and so I played them. And then these games, when they came out, I didn't even bother with the campaigns. I don't remember anything about those. I just played the multiplayer modes. That's all I really cared about. Black Ops 2, I got very good at. Modern Warfare 3, I was not good at. But actually, yeah, I would say all of these I was pretty bad at in the multiplayer. But Black Ops 2, like, I rocked people's world in this game. When I would play with my friends, we were just always at the top of the leaderboards. I was one of those people, you know, in the Call of Duty games, they have a prestige system where you get up to level 50 or whatever the level is, and then you start again from level 1. You essentially restart your multiplayer experience, except you get a little icon that says, oh, you're prestige 4, you're prestige 9, whatever. I was that guy that never even prestiged because I didn't care about the accolades. I didn't care about looking good on the leaderboards. I just wanted to play the game. I wanted access to the weapons that I wanted to play. And so I had no problem just being at the top level of an unprestiged rank just so that I could have access to the things I want and be good at the game, you know, regardless of what shiny thing was on my profile. So anyway, if you want to talk about a franchise I've spent the most amount of time in, Call of Duty has got to be up there. If it's not number 1, then Guitar Hero might be number 1, but I think Guitar Hero takes too much mental energy. You have to pay attention to what's going on the screen, and you have to listen. With Call of Duty, I would put on television shows, YouTubers, not podcasts at the time, but YouTubers certainly, and just play Call of Duty at the same time because I didn't need the audio. And so I spent a lot of time playing these games. By the time Black Ops 2 was done, I had ventured into new waters. I had... you know, ended up enjoying different types of games. I might have even gotten my own laptop at that point. I could be misremembering that, but I might have started into PC gaming. And once I started playing different types of games, I was like, listen, these games brought out a lot of anger in me. They brought out a lot of emotion. And they brought out a lot of happiness as well, but they were just games that were highly competitive, and I find myself to not be a highly competitive person. I think I tend to appreciate more the artistry of video games, the interesting mechanics of video games, and Call of Duty certainly has that, but when I played it, I was not appreciating the game. I was being upset about why I wasn't good at the game. And so, yeah, I stopped after Black Ops 2. Again, great game. I had a fantastic time with it. I still go back to this one especially, and look at the maps and look at the guns and be like, oh, I had such a great time back then. Maybe, you know, we have 2 copies of it, so we might bust out a local multiplayer game sometime soon. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I had no idea that I had this in here. I don't think I've ever even seen this before. I think it might have gotten lumped in with my stuff from my dad or something like that. But this is Project Gotham Racing 2. And you can see up here it says 4 all-new playable game demos, which includes, let's see if I can get this. The lighting's not great. Crimson Skies, Top Hit 2, and what's that at the bottom? I can't even see it. Oh, Dungeons & Dragons Heroes. That's very interesting. And then they also have an Alien game on here. Alien Quadrilogy DVD. Oh, is that a movie demo or a movie trailer? That's really interesting. Oh, they have a demo in here for NHL Hits Pro. Wow. Oh, I see. This isn't even a game. See, this is how you know I've never looked at this before. I think this is literally just a demo disc. Because I look in here, and on the inside cover, up here, it says, sorry, I'm not used to this. Holiday 2003 disc number 26. Which makes me think that this is just like under playable demos. It says Project Gotham Racing 2. So anyway, this is super interesting. I've literally never seen this before. I do have an original Xbox in another bin outside of my office. I'm going to have to check this out. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so this is here, but to be honest, I've never played it. Okay, here's an interesting one. Traditionally, like I said, I don't tend to spend my money, and that includes anything that isn't the base game. You know, special editions, collector's editions, anything like that. I was always hesitant to spend my money on it because I just didn't care enough. You know, I would play a game and move on. But at some point, I discovered what is called Kijiji, which is the Canadian equivalent of Craigslist or eBay. It's a local buy and sell, buy and trade. And I was like, wow, that's a way I can get cheap games without having to spend a lot of money. And what was on there was the Assassin's Creed tin. A big chonky guy. And I think it was like $8 or something like that on Kijiji. And I went there and, you know, the guy was like, hey, everything in here is good except for the little mini figure. And the mini figure is like broken. I was like, okay, no problem. Actually, I think it's in this box. Let me try and find it. I'm looking through this box and I found another copy of Modern Warfare 2. I don't know why we had so many different Call of Duties, but there you go. Okay, I don't see the little figurine that came with this Assassin's Creed tin, but I know I have it somewhere. I saw it at some point. But anyway, oh, there's actually multiple Okay, I don't think this was supposed to happen. This tin is just for the first Assassin's Creed game. You can see it's a nice aluminum thing. Pretty neat. It's the only collector's edition of a game that I own. And I don't know, I'm going to hang on to it, but you can see here they have a little strategy guide, an art book preview, apparently. Got some stuff in there. To be honest, I don't even remember any of this. I probably bought the game and didn't even bother looking through. Oh, look, they got a little comic book in here. Look at that cover. Wow, that's super cool. So anyway, I'm going to have to look through this later. But, so, okay, and then here's the game, right? And this was my first time playing Assassin's Creed. Oh, this also has multiple discs. Look at that. That's so cool. I don't remember this at all. Anyway, I played Assassin's Creed. I loved it. I thought it was a great idea. You know, I love this concept of being an assassin and everything. It was so intriguing. I did eventually end up going and buying Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Both of these were in this tin, but I don't think they're supposed to be. I think I just happened to put them in there because they were Assassin's Creed. And then there's also Assassin's Creed Revelations, which I think is in this box as well somewhere. But yeah, super cool. The only, like I said, the only collector's edition that I own, and I'm going to hang on to it. I'll put it in storage somewhere. We're going to go traveling, and that's why I don't own a lot of possessions. But yeah, it'll be a nice little thing to add on to the bookshelf, you know? I'm going to throw it here for now. Okay, this is a neat one. On the same day that I bought my Modern Warfare 2 and my Xbox 360 for the first time, you know, back then I didn't know a whole lot about video games, right? I knew that my dad played Call of Duty and I had a bunch of games on the original Xbox, but I didn't know anything about the gaming industry, right? I didn't know what a JRPG was. I didn't know about the difference between a developer and a publisher, all of that stuff. And so, when I was in the store, and you know, when you're a kid, you like to look at all the video games that are on the wall at EB Games and just pick the one that's most interesting. So when I was there on that day, I saw that there was a $15 price tag on this game called Enchanted Arms. And you probably haven't heard of this. It is a very niche game. You can see it's from Ubisoft. And it was actually, like, really interesting. I look at how the game was received now, and apparently it was received decently well. The concept was that you could go around and basically collect creatures. It was almost like Pokemon in that way, except a little bit more serious. The monsters were, I mean, some of them were cute. You can see, I think you can see on the cover. No, where are they here? I'm losing light, so it's hard for me to see. You can see in this little, like, hold on, this little banner here. There's like a bunch of them. So there's like this, I gotta really learn how to line this up. There's this little blue guy. He was pretty cute. But then some of them are pretty creepy. Like that one doesn't have any eyes. Can I get any closer here? Yeah. You can see that one's pretty anime. But then there was also some really like neat ones. Like I remember like the stone golem and stuff like that. The combat system was unique. The storyline was average. But anyway, I played this having no idea that it was like an unknown game. And I would tell my friends about it. I'd be like, oh, this is such a cool game. This is my first exposure to this type of game. And Anyway, I look back on this and I think, oh, that's, it's so cool that I managed to get my hands on something unknown, because these days I would look at a game like this that nobody really talks about and probably not play it, right? There's so many games available to me now that are so high quality and so well regarded that something like Enchanted Arms would just not come on my radar. So I'm glad I had that, and I think it's going to give me some perspective moving forward, right? Anytime I see a game that isn't super popular, I'm going to have that, hey, I played Enchanted Arms and I liked it, so should give it a shot. And I think that's the joy of things like EB Games or GameStop or any other local game shop, is that you can browse and find gems like this that you would never find by searching the internet, right? And never choose to buy. If there's something on sale or there's just a game that looks cool, you can pick it up. Okay, I'm going to have 2 of them here. And I think I have some... Oh, there is one thing I forgot to mention, actually, before we move on. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I mentioned before that I was very interested in achievement hunting and getting 100% of games. I 100%ed Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I got all of the achievements, and that is not easy. This is probably the hardest 100% that I ever got. In particular, there's a mode on here called Special Ops, where you can basically go on these specialized missions that the developers had created. So it's not the multiplayer mode, it's not a campaign mode, it's just like a 20-minute experience that gives you a special map with a unique challenge, and you can get 1, 2, or 3 stars, and they'll ramp up the difficulty based on how many stars. And the hardest achievement on this game is to 3-star all of the special ops. Sometimes it requires some co-op, so I needed to have a friend to do this with. I think it was actually my uncle that helped me do it. But anyway, I bought this game in like 2010, something like that, and I 100%ed it in probably 2015, 2016. Very, very, many years later, and I'm pretty proud of that one. I don't do so much achievement hunting anymore, but that's one I look back on, and I think it was pretty cool that I did that. Okay, here's a neat one. When I was in actually primary school, okay, so grade 1 through grade 6, I had this friend who was very much into video games. He was so much taller than me. He had a very commanding voice and a very commanding presence. He was quite wild. And anyway, like I said, he loved playing video games. His family let him play whatever he wanted. And he told me about a game called Borderlands. Not really a game that primary school kids should probably be playing. I would maybe advise that you don't give this to your kid who's in grade 5. But I remember him telling me about it, and he described it like, oh, they have like every single type of gun you can imagine. There's machine guns that fire rockets and laser beams and stuff like that. And I don't think it had quite that extent, but certainly for somebody who was in primary school, it appeared to be that way, that there could be infinite number of weapons. And to be honest, I have a distinct memory of him telling me about this game, and we're walking down the driveway, and I remember as someone who was in grade 5 or 6 just going like, yeah, you're crazy, dude. I don't believe you. I thought he was just making some stuff up. He was also one of those kids that would be like, oh yeah, I own every single Yu-Gi-Oh card. That's what he tried to tell me. I own every single Yu-Gi-Oh card that exists. I'm like, there's like tens of thousands of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that have been made. You can't own all of them. I mean the unique cards, not like all in existence. But anyway, so I tended not to believe him when he said things, and that included what he said about Borderlands. Well, it turned out when I got into middle school, this was actually a pretty stinking good game. Borderlands, it's a first-person RPG, first-person shooter RPG, which is pretty rare. You don't see that a ton, but back then we got Fallout and we got Borderlands and we got other games. And Borderlands ended up being a tremendous game. I loved it a lot. I loved the art style. And again, this is a game that I 100%ed, and I did that when I was a kid. In order to 100% this game, you needed to play as every single one of the characters and get to a certain point by killing X number of enemies with a special weapon, stuff like that. I don't think it was a particularly hard game to 100%. And I never played the DLCs, so even though I had the Game of the Year edition, I never played the DLCs. And in fact, I only recently started playing the DLCs because I played through Borderlands again in maybe 2019, and I had the Game of the Year edition on PC, and so I booted it up, played some of the DLCs. They were pretty good. DLCs are pretty good. Should have played it when I was a kid. But anyway. Yeah, Borderlands is a great game. And then we have Borderlands 2, which again, I have the alternative cover on it. Oh, is it upside down? Is it really upside down? Oh, that's my bad. Well, anyway, there's the... I think it's pretty neat. Had good art. And you can see... Oh, yeah, I definitely had it upside down. Wow. Yeah, here's what the cover would normally look like, right? And Borderlands 2... Now, okay, I have an interesting relationship with Borderlands 2. Actually, I have a good anecdote before I get started with that. So, Borderlands, great game, had a great time. But when I was in middle school, my best friend Jordan, now my current roommate, he always ragged on me for liking this game. He was always like, oh, Borderlands sucks, I don't like that game. And then he would almost like do it just to get a rise out of me. I'd be like, no, Borderlands is a great game, you should play it. And he'd be like, no, and you know, just to make fun of me. And then in 2012, we enter high school, and this is when Borderlands 2 is coming out. And he tells me, there's no way I'm buying Borderlands 2. I don't even like the first game. And so I was like, man, if I don't have anybody to play Borderlands 2 with, am I even going to buy the game? And then he magically one day shows up at school, opens up his backpack, and pulls out a copy of Borderlands 2. And I was like, what the heck? What is this? And that's when I found out he was just teasing me this whole time. He actually did like Borderlands. And so that started a very tumultuous relationship with this game, because I would get Borderlands 2 booted up, I would play with friends, and then we would stall. And then I would play solo, and then I'd, I don't know, play a couple of quests, and then I would stall. And I have ended up playing Borderlands 2, the beginning of Borderlands 2, maybe 20 times, with different groups on my own, whatever it was. And, man, I am very tired of that intro, right? And then around, like, attempt number 16, attempt number 17, 18, I'd be like, okay, this is the time I'm going to finish the game, right? This is the time I'm finally going to get through all of it. And every single time I never did. And I promised myself I'm never going to play Borderlands 2 again, because there's absolutely no way that I'm ever going to finish this game. And because of that, I also never bought the pre-sequel. I never bought Borderlands 3, you know, any iteration of Borderlands, other than Tales of the Borderlands, which is from Telltale. Great game. You should play that. But Borderlands 2, I abandoned it. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then one opportunity came up. I have a friend of the channel, of the Gaming Observer. His name is Katosep. Him and I played through all of Divinity Original Sin. For like a year, every single weekend, we would play hours and hours of Divinity Original Sin. And we finished that game. It took like 100 hours to beat that game. And I thought, okay, if anybody can help me beat Borderlands 2, it's the guy that I managed to beat Divinity Original Sin with, right? If we can get through this massive, sprawling RPG that's so in-depth and so long, we should be able to get through a 20-hour game or something like that. I don't know how long it is exactly. So I told him about my plight with Borderlands. I told him about all my issues, and he said, no problem, we'll get that done. And so we played. We got so far into the game, and then my dude had a baby. He had a child. Turns out, well, this didn't surprise me, but as we all know, when you have a baby, you run out of time to do things. And that included us playing Borderlands 2. So once again, I have started this game with the full intent of completing it, with the full idea and confidence that I was going to complete it. And we haven't. Now, we haven't given up. You know, I've seen this game so many times now that I don't mind picking up where I left off, because I'm always going to remember where I am. And a game like Borderlands 2, you know, you just point at the dudes and shoot and they die and you're going to do okay. So whenever we have time to game again, we're going to be picking up on Borderlands and hopefully getting that game done. And then maybe I'll move on to the other games, but maybe I'll just be sick of them at a certain point. Okay, I'm realizing that it's getting quite dark in this room now, so I'm going to see what the lighting is like with these lights on. Oh wow, that's actually not that bad at all. Okay. I was expecting this to be a whole lot worse. Normally you put lights like this on and it's just absolutely disgusting, but this can work. I'm fine with this. Okay, let's keep going through our list here. Oh man, I'm looking through some of these games. I'm so excited. Okay, here's Fallout 3. Actually, it's a good continuation. I was talking about first-person shooters and RPGs. Definitely one of my favorite games that I've ever played. This came in the midst of me in my Call of Duty phase. You know, Borderlands was actually before Call of Duty. Fallout 3 is what really showed me how video games can break convention and do something interesting. And a lot of people like Fallout New Vegas better than Fallout 3. I've never actually played New Vegas. I have started it a few times, but I was just so in love with the aesthetic of this game and with the, I don't know, just, there's the radio channel, there's the quests that they put you on, there's all the different characters. I was just in love with them. And, I still go back to the soundtrack of this game and listen. They did a great job putting it together. And I think certainly one day I'm going to go back. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play New Vegas. And then I haven't heard, the best of things for 4, so I'm not scrambling for that. But this is certainly one of the defining games of my childhood. And I think if it weren't for Fallout 3, I might not have really expanded. I mean, I still might have if I got my PC and I was playing The Binding of Isaac, which is my most played game ever, probably, I think. I think I've said that a few times in this video, but I don't know. I really credit Fallout 3 for making me appreciate games beyond just shooting people in the face, even though that's kind of what you do in this game. I think they just did such a great job with it. I don't know that I have much else to say. I'm happy it's around. Okay, Far Cry 2. I got Far Cry 2 because I was, again, around the age of all of these games was when Far Cry 3 came out. And Far Cry 3 made a huge splash on the internet, if you remember. On YouTube, that was the YouTubers' games of reaction videos and analysis of the trailers, and everybody was in love with the main antagonist and stuff like that. And again, I didn't want to pay for new games, and somebody in my school was actually selling some of their old 360 games. They just posted on Facebook, hey, I'm selling some games, and they put up Far Cry 2 for like $10 or something like that. I thought, hey, it's Far Cry. Everybody's loving that game right now. I should go try it. Turns out Far Cry 2 is a very different game from Far Cry 3, like totally different. The mechanics are much slower and more intentional and less handholdy. And, the meme, I think, is that you always die of dysentery or something like that when you play Far Cry 2, because it's very brutal. It's quite a tough game. So I never actually played that much of it, to be honest. I booted it up a few times, and I was like, I don't really get this, and I put it back down. And that's when I had discovered that the game is quite different from the rest of the ones in the series. So, I don't know, I think I'm glad it's in my collection. I'm glad I have it. I know a lot of people really do love the game, but I never really got much out of it, unfortunately. Running out of space here. Okay, here's a fun one. You Don't Know Jack, the Irreverent Trivia Party game. You probably know these developers better nowadays for the Jackbox Party Packs. And, this is really where they started. A very, very funny narrator, Cookie Masterson. You Don't Know Jack, of course, much older than the 360. They did games on the PC for many years previous. But great trivia game, this was always a great party game. And I actually just played through this game with my mom. Just me and her would be sitting on the couch, each of us with an Xbox controller, and we would go through some trivia. And it was just like a quick pastime for us. We tried to get through all of the different scenarios that they had, or I don't know what they called them. I think they were scenarios or levels or something like that, which had a series of quiz questions. We tried to get through all of them. I don't think we ended up doing that. But yeah, lots of great time, screwing your opponents and answering trivia and whatever. These guys have always been really good. And if you haven't played the Jackbox Party Pack and you have, a family at Christmas that you want to do something with, or a board game group or anything like that, Jackbox is a lot of fun. Super easy to set up. Only one person has to buy it. Everybody connects with their phones. I'm glad that they iterated, because I think You Don't Know Jack was good for the time. And certainly they've made some modern versions which hold up. But you couldn't get away with this exclusively in 2021, I don't think. Okay, this is the other game. So I talked to you before about Fallout 3 being a defining game for me. The other one was Portal 2. This might still be one of my favorite games of all time. I usually give that accolade to Hollow Knight, just because I have such a deep appreciation for the artistry of that game. But Portal 2 is so close on its heels. It's so close. I played this game again recently. I was still so in love. And it's these two games, really. I played them around the same time that broadened my horizons. Again, I mentioned this already with Fallout. Portal as a puzzle game is so genius. Portal as a co-op puzzle game is so genius. I also 100%ed this game, which wasn't incredibly easy. The single player actually was easy enough. It was the co-op that was really quite difficult, the achievements in this game. And in fact, Jordan is the one who helped me do it. We played it on split screen. We stayed up super, super late. It was like 2, 3 in the morning we were playing Portal. And we were so tired. And it was the final achievement that we were trying to get. And I believe the achievement was play through the entire... Again, I'm going to call it a scenario, but it's not a scenario. It's like there's like a stage with multiple levels inside of it, multiple puzzles inside of it. And so they wanted you to get through the entire scenario without taking damage, because in Portal they'll drop these turrets that you have to avoid and block with these light bridges and stuff like that. And so what I was doing is I was following an online tutorial, trueachievements.com. We were on there, we were looking at the video tutorials, and then level by level, we were just reading before the level started, what do we need to do in this to avoid taking damage? And so we were very careful. We were, moving slowly, going through. It took us about, probably an hour and a half to get through all of the levels, just to make sure we didn't screw anything up. And then we get to the very last level. I go, okay, we're on the last one, we can do this. And we both simultaneously land on the ground. And I turn around to go look at the tutorial, and the last level of that stage has 2 turrets automatically pointed at you at the start of the level. And so I turn around, and I just hear, and I turn around, and both of us have exploded. And so we had to restart all the way again from the beginning to try and get that achievement. And again, it was 2 in the morning, and we were so tired, 3 in the morning maybe. We're like, are we going to do this now, or are we, and just sleep in super late later, or are we going to go to bed? And we decided to stay up, and I popped the final achievement, and I have 100% on Portal 2. I'm very happy about that. I wanted to 100% it again on PC, but I couldn't convince anyone to try and get all the achievements with me. So super happy to have this. And actually, my first playthrough of the game, my dad had rented it. He went out to EB Games again or something and rented Portal 2 for him to play for himself. And I think he played it and he didn't like it, which I think is insane. And so he gave it to me. He says, here, you might like this. I played it. Turns out it's one of the best games ever made. Man, we're going deep here. Okay, let's not go too deep. Hold on a sec. Oh, I see a game in there I'm excited for. Okay, let's start with this one. WWE AllStars. I began watching wrestling in 2008 because of SmackDown versus Raw 2008. I told you I played a lot of demos. Mirror's Edge was one of those. SmackDown versus Raw 2008 was another one. Played a lot of that demo. And then my dad went out and rented that game for me, and then eventually bought that game for me. And I purchased every WWE game yearly after that point. It was the one game that I would spend full price on release day every single year. And WWE AllStars was a departure from the usual formula of the wrestling games. So most wrestling games are like simulation. They're trying to replicate real life. But AllStars is very over the top. You can see they're very muscly. I mean, wrestlers are very muscly, but it's almost like arcadey. Here, if I show you the back, you can see that's not trying to depict real life. That's trying to be a very exaggerated version of them. And so this game was a lot of fun. There was a lot of criticisms of the simulation games, and there's a lot of criticisms of this game. But this game was just fun to just boot up and have a good time. They designed it really well. They had a great reversal system. If you played these games, you probably know what I'm talking about. It wasn't very replayable. There wasn't a lot to play over and over again like the simulation games. But this was actually one of the first games I 100%ed, which was not, again, it was not an easy feat. You had to do a lot of repetitive things in a game, which is not fun when it's repeated. There's some story modes in here, which I think they just wanted you to play through a story mode with every single wrestler available in the game or something like that. And I don't remember how many wrestlers there are, but there's 30 of them. So you had to play through the campaign 30 times. Do that on any game, you're going to get, go stir crazy. But I ended up doing it. I got the achievement, and I don't remember what the other achievements are. I just remember that one. So it's pretty cool. I like to have this because it was one of the first games that I represented and really started that love of mine. And I would like to go back to this one day, and I would like to see them do something like this again one day. I think it was such a smart idea, and It probably didn't sell very well, but anyway, games like this are the reason I'm still watching wrestling today. I'm not watching WWE. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm watching AEW for the most part. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting looking back on this because it's my childhood. You know, you're looking at my childhood here. Wow, I don't normally do videos this long. I can feel it in my throat. Okay, I'm so excited for this one. Oh boy. All right. I actually need to look up the historical context of this game because I haven't researched actually much of it. I just remember the controversy. Okay, there's not as much here as I remember historical context, but the game I'm talking about, and you're gonna love the cover of this, is Brink. So Microplay is a local video game store, much like GameStop. They do a lot more used games. And as you can see, this is a used game. It says Brink for the Xbox 360. Like, such wonderful, wonderful art there. I purchased it for $10. When Brink came out, if my memory serves me correctly, a lot of my... when I was a kid, I started... my YouTubers were Call of Duty YouTubers first. So I watched a lot of people whose only game was Call of Duty. And so when Brink came out, a lot of these Call of Duty people were being like, oh, is Brink going to be a game that we need to pay attention to, right? They would do that for Battlefield. When Battlefield 3 came out, the idea was, oh, this is going to be the Call of Duty killer, right? And I don't know if they ever said that about Brink, but there was a lot of excitement about Brink because the previews were all about freedom of movement, parkour, customization of your character, stuff that you just didn't see in Call of Duty. And I ended up picking it up. My friend ended up picking it up. And we had a fine time. I mean, we were young. We didn't really care that much about the differences in video games. But when the game came out, it just absolutely flopped. Nobody played this game. And it sucks. You know, they had some interesting ideas in there from what I remember. Here, you can see the very fancy faceplate that they have. You could outfit your guy however you wanted. But yeah, like I remember, it was disappointing when I played it, but I had a decent time, and it's too bad it never lived up to the hype that so many people had for it. You know, I don't remember too much of this game, probably because I didn't play much of it. I would probably played it and then went, Call of Duty's better, and moved on to that. Look at this. Look at the. That's what's going to live on my shelf. And that's probably how most people are going to remember Brink. Not some fancy cover, just a white lining and a Sharpie. Okay, I'm showing you 6 games at once here. Because I just talked to you about WWE AllStars, and here's all of the games, all the yearly iterations of WWE through the years. Now, I did start in 2008. I had 2008, 2009... and then I skipped 2014. As you can see, I go from WWE 13 to WWE 2K15. It's kind of hard to see there. Very reflective. There you go. And then from 2016, which is the most recent one, I also have 2017 and 2018 on PC. So this is the only collection that's left. Like I said, I bought these games every single year. I don't know that I have much to say about them. I've put a lot of hours into this franchise. I know, again, I've said this a lot in this video, but Guitar Hero, Call of Duty, and the wrestling games are the games that I put the most amount of my hours into. And, yeah, to be honest, I don't know that I have any particular memories of any of these games. Like, I couldn't tell you what this game looked like or what was different about it compared to the other ones. This one is pretty cool. They for 2011 they had different, actually for a lot of the games they had different covers based on where you lived. And so in 2011 this is a Canadian wrestler, so I'm in Canada and they put him on the front just for that. You can see it says limited edition up there. I don't even think I did anything special to get this limited edition. I think it was supposed to be like you pay some extra money and you would get this. But instead I just went to my store and I was like, hey, can I buy this? And they went, yep, and they gave me this version. So I walked away with something cool there. And then, you know, the people who owned WWE games, the license for WWE games was THQ. And then, of course, they went out of business. And so before they went out of business, they tried to rebrand. So here's a little bit of context about wrestling. I know most of you aren't going to care, but SmackDown and Raw are the two different wrestling shows that WWE has on television. And so they branded it as SmackDown versus Raw, right? When they originally made wrestling games, they had Raw games, they had SmackDown games. And then they were like, why are we making two different games? We should just make it one. And so they made it SmackDown versus Raw. Well, eventually that branding stopped making sense, and so they just went to WWE 12 and WWE 13. And then THQ goes out of business. They get picked up by, the WWE games get picked up by 2K, right? So now it's 2K15. 16. So, anyway. I don't play these games anymore. If I do, it'll be through family sharing or some other way of getting the games that I don't have to pay for them, because to be honest, they're not great games. They're not all that tremendous. I was really forcing myself to play them because I was interested in the content, and if you actually look at the features of these games, they're not that great. They are poorly developed, not given much care, because they're yearly iterations, right? It's not the developer's fault, they just don't have time. And the people who are forcing them to do it every single year aren't letting them. So, or aren't letting them develop a really good game. And so, anyway, that's why I don't buy them anymore. The most recent iterations I was playing, I was really forcing the game to do a lot of the things it wasn't meant to do. I was kind of making the game my own to make it fun. And, anyway, I haven't played it in a long time, and they delayed the most recent one because of how bad it was. So, okay, we're almost done here. Almost done. This is turning out to be longer than expected, but that's okay. We got Mass Effect. For a lot of people, this is an all-time classic. Many people, it's their favorite game of all time. I've never beaten it, unfortunately. I don't even know how I got this copy. I don't think I bought it. I think I got it from somebody. And, you know, I booted it up, I played it, I had a great time, but for some reason, something about it just didn't stick with me. I have a deep appreciation for it, and I wish that I enjoyed it, because I want to play through the entire series. You know, I know a lot of people find that journey to be one of the best in ever. You know, the Mass Effect trilogy is so well regarded. But unfortunately, you know, I've tried to play it a few times, and it just never really sustained me. And I'm at a point now where I don't tend to play the sprawling RPGs, so I'll probably get around to it one day. They just did the remasters, which is a great excuse to play it, because this doesn't hold up, probably, if I were to try it on the 360. But if I were to play the remaster, it might be a little bit more palatable. We've got here Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. I tried to play this game without having played the first Force Unleashed, and I also tried to play this game without having any idea about Star Wars whatsoever. I actually watched my first Star Wars movie about 4 years ago. I've since watched all of them. I very much love Star Wars now. I think it's a great franchise. But back then, I had no idea. And so I played this game for a little bit and put it down almost immediately. And to be honest, I think it's... I remember I borrowed this game. If I recall correctly, I borrowed this game. And I don't remember from who. So, sorry, person who I borrowed this from. Okay, this is an interesting one. So... growing up, my father was really into Final Fantasy. I had watched him play Final Fantasy VII, I think through an emulator on his PC. I think that's how he played it. And then I had watched him play... No, I think Final Fantasy VII was the only one I watched him play. But then he went out and he purchased Final Fantasy XIII, starring Lightning. And... I don't know where the cover went for it. It's just this gray box, and this is all I've ever remembered it being. I don't remember ever seeing a cover for this, so he might have bought it used or something. But you can see here, we got Final Fantasy Disc 1. And there's other discs in here as well. And I watched him play this one, and this was actually my introduction to the Final Fantasy series. Oh, no, sorry. That's a total lie. I played Final Fantasy X on the PlayStation 2, just by going to a friend's house, actually my mom's friend's house, and just like, they had nothing else to do, so I would boot up their PlayStation and start my own save for Final Fantasy X, and then every time I went there, I would play it for like half-an-hour sessions. And then, you know, so I had a great time with that game. I'm actually just finishing Final Fantasy X now for the first time ever. It's a great game. But that was my only exposure to Final Fantasy. And then he bought Final Fantasy 13. I kind of watched him play it, but not really, and then I tried to play the game for myself. Never ended up finishing it, never even got all that far through, to be honest. I don't remember why. I think I recall enjoying the experience. I think people don't look back on it very fondly. And then many, many years later, he then did purchase Final Fantasy 13-2, because this is what they do with Final Fantasy, is each iteration of the game is a new number, but if they want to make a sequel for a particular storyline, then they have to add the -2, right? Because Final Fantasy 14 is going to be a whole new story. Ended up being an MMO. But anyway, I do intend to return to these games eventually. I've played Final Fantasy 9 and 10 now on my own, so I would love to return to 13 because I remember it, and I remember having a decent enough time with it, at least. And I've tried to play Final Fantasy 15, and I absolutely hated that experience. Sorry if you love that game, but it was not for me. We've got Gears of War 2. Never played it. Don't know why I own it. That's all I have to say. Oh, I love this. This is hitting my heart. I've told you all about the demos, right? This is actually a really fun story. So, my mom used to be a seller, I guess, or a representative, I don't know what you call it, of Avon. If you've never heard of Avon, they have like this monthly brochure where they deliver it to your door. You look through the brochure. They sell a whole bunch of skincare products and shampoo and jewelry and stuff like that. And then you'd go through, you'd say, oh, okay, I want this thing. You'd mark it off, you'd hand it to your rep of Avon, and then they would go order it for you and deliver it to you. And so it was a way for my mom to make some side money. I think it's like a multi-level marketing scheme or a pyramid scheme. I don't know entirely what goes on with Avon. It didn't seem all that malicious when I was a kid because I was a kid. She hasn't done it since I was like 5 years old. Very, very young memories of her working for Avon. But anyway, my mom goes to meet somebody who is also going to become a rep for Avon. And I'm just a little kid, I don't know what to do, but I do like video games. And while we're there, my mom is talking with a woman, and that woman's husband is also sitting there being like, I don't know what to do. Hey, kid, do you want to play some video games? I said, heck yeah, I want to play some video games. I like video games. And so he whips up, he opens his 360, and he presents to me John Woo's Stranglehold. Now, I was talking to you earlier about not giving middle schoolers primary schoolers Borderlands. I would recommend you don't give primary schoolers Stranglehold. I was fine. I ended up being a totally well-developed kid, and I was able to handle this kind of violence. But I think a lot of kids can't. It's a violent game. It's it's a really interesting. There's a lot of shooting, a lot of killing, a lot of crime. But the signature feature of John Woo's Stranglehold is it has slow-mo. So you dive over something, and then you can activate slow-mo and shoot the people while you're in the middle of the air, and, continue to progress. And so he showed me this, and as someone who was in primary school, I was like, defining, like, this is so amazing, I need to own this game. And so I went home, and I played the demo of Stranglehold over and over and over and over. I played the intro to that game so many times. I had mastered every single way you could do slow-mo and all the hidden areas and everything that was in the demo. And I played the demo tons of times, and then much like Mirror's Edge, I was like, okay, let's, I obviously love this game, let's go and get the full game. So I went and bought it used. It was $5, and I don't think I ever finished it. I don't think the full game was as entertaining as the demo was. Mirror's Edge did pay off. Stranglehold did not. Okay, I only have 4 more 360 games to go through, and then I'm going to have maybe 1 or 2 from other generations, but I've got other games in there, but I don't know what's going on with them. This one is real quick. Angry Birds Star Wars. I never purchased this game. I think my father bought this game, and I don't know why. I don't think he ever played Angry Birds, so I don't know where this came from. We got Halo 3. I've shown you a lot of classics in here, and I've shown you, many critically acclaimed games. Obviously, Halo 3, very, very well loved. You can see it was purchased for close to $50. Halo 3, Halo in general, is more of my childhood than many, many other games. Call of Duty was my teenage years. Halo was my childhood. I played Halo 1 and 2 on the original Xbox with Jordan many times. We played a lot of co-op. And then when Halo 3 came out and you had the capabilities of online multiplayer and a co-op campaign, which was just so good. The main menu music, the storylines, everything. Halo 3 was one of the defining games of my childhood. Again, I've said that a lot here, but you really can't go wrong with a game like this, right? Halo tugs at my heartstrings more than any Call of Duty would. And I didn't play a tremendous amount of it, right? Like, I played dozens of hours, but not hundreds of hours, probably. Didn't play a lot of online multiplayer, competitive Halo. Mostly just the campaign. And so, I don't know, I look at this and I go, I can't wait to revisit this campaign one day. I have the Master Chief Collection through the Game Pass. I tried to play the first Halo game. It didn't go well. We played the second Halo game. It did go well, but we never ended up getting to 3. So I can't wait to get to 3. We have Skate 3. I'm actually still playing this game. It's installed on my Xbox One through backwards compatibility. I've talked about this a lot on the Gaming Observer Daily Updates, but I have this weird relationship with skateboarding games. I'm not a skateboarder. I've skateboarded a little bit when I was a kid, but I didn't enjoy it at all. I've put hundreds of hours into Skate 3. I've played Ollie Ollie. I have this app on my phone called True Skate, which is a skating simulator game. Here, I'll show it to you. Here it is. And you can see it's literally just... Oh, hold on. I gotta close. There we go. This is going to be impossible to do backwards, but, you know, you hold on to your board here, and then you just skate around. You do a jump. Oh, can I do it? Yeah, there we go. You see? And, this game has literally been in my life since 2012. I've been playing, ever since I've owned a mobile phone, I've been playing True Skate consistently. Like, every phone I've ever owned, the first thing I download is True Skate. I've recorded many of my daily updates while playing True Skate, literally just skating around the same map all the time, repetitive motions. It's just calming for the brain. It's something for my fingers to do while I do other things. And Skate 3 was very much that as well. If I ever wanted to watch YouTube, do something, whatever. I mean, I played through the campaign once. I think I 100%ed this game, or at least as much as I was able to do outside of the multiplayer stuff. But anytime I just needed to boot something up and play, and I didn't want to worry about the competitiveness of Call of Duty, I was playing Skate 3. This is a great game. And I still, like I said, I still play it to this day. If I'm laying on the couch and I just need something chill, I got 15 minutes or 30 minutes to kill, Skate 3 is a great opportunity. Just skate around, do nothing. It's a great time. We got Prince of Persia. This is a reboot of the Prince of Persia series. Again, as you can see, $15 used. I was a big secondhand market guy. Not tremendous. I played Sands of Time, Prince of Persia. That was a great game on the original Xbox. This reboot was it was something. I mean, I think people might have liked it, but I don't remember much of it. I didn't play very much of it because I liked the Sands of Time, and this very much was not that game. And I actually do recall, again, this was in my achievement hunting phase. I think there's an achievement in this game that says you have to collect, like, every single orb. And there's, like, hundreds of orbs on each level that are, like, sometimes hidden and stuff like that. It's like a random thing that you can pick up as you're moving around, and then you can spend it on upgrades. But it's kind of like the Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild. Like, what is the point in ever trying to get all of those things? You would be a madman to try and attempt it. Anyway. Okay, and I'm basically done at this point. I'm just going to show you some of the older generation stuff. On the original Xbox, I had The Sims. I don't think I ever played this copy of the game. It's pretty cool that I have it. I don't even remember owning this, to be honest, but I love that it's here. I'm going to hang on to that for a long time. We got Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2003. Again, didn't play this. So actually, my original Xbox was modded. It had like some hacking stuff on there. And what we would do is we would go to our rented, rent a game, basically. It wasn't Microplay or GameStop. It was they would rent out movies and furniture and televisions. They were like an all-purpose tech kind of thing. and they would rent out video games. And so we would go to the video game rent and then burn the CD onto our Xbox because there was like a burning software on there. And then I just had the game forever. And so we had some Tiger Woods games on there. I don't know if it was this one. There would be no purpose of burning it if I owned it. But anyway, I played a lot of golf games as a kid. A lot of sports games in general. That's how I know the rules of most sports games, even though I've never watched them on television. We got Call of Duty Finest Hour. I think this is the first Call of Duty, isn't it? I've never played it. It's pretty cool that I have it. We got Burnout Revenge. I did play a lot of Burnout. I had Burnout burned onto the Xbox. I had many different titles. I loved going around hitting people in the back, on the side. I think I was actually pretty good at that game, and they had some fun missions. Now, I opened up Burnout, and inside I saw the CD for one of my all-time favorite games, Fable. And that is also the next game on the list here, and so I'm kind of curious. Okay, there's just nothing inside of here, so I'll go ahead and put that in the right spot. I often credit Fable to be my first serious game that I've ever played. My earliest memory of playing a serious game is Fable. You know, there's certain, again, when I listen to the soundtrack of this game, it triggers something in my brain that often isn't triggered, or isn't triggered often. There's the sound effects, and you know, walking down the street and some lady's like, chicken chaser, because that's, you know, they're calling you a chicken chaser, you're just a little kid. There's some really good stuff in here. I've never played it all the way through. I played the first couple of hours a bunch of times as a kid. I would love to return to it one day. I would love to play it. I think I have it on Steam. I should just play it. We have Return of Castle of Wolfenstein, Tides of War. Never played it. Pretty cool. I own it. We have Tetris Worlds, as well as Star Wars: The Clone Wars. This is a double-sided thing. Most of these other games I have memories of being in storage. This game I have zero clue where this came from. This doesn't activate anything in my brain, but it's pretty cool. You can see we got like a half and half CD going on there. I think that's pretty neat. You wouldn't see anything like that these days. That's so cool. I should boot this up just to see what it looks like. And then if we go the other direction, so that was all original Xbox stuff. If we go to the oh no, there's Burnout. If we go to the Xbox One, which was, you know, I finished up with the 360. I was a teenager, and then in grade 11, 12, the Xbox One came out. Oh, here, 2013. So that was grade 10, actually. The Xbox One came out, and so this is a day one sleeve thing, tin. I don't even know what's in here, to be honest. Some kind of fancy something. Yeah, it's like a aluminum. I guess this is the other collector's thing I own. Oh, it's nice sound. Okay, that wasn't a good sound, but got some kind of like metal plate here. Thank you for being part of day one. Look at that. There's a code on there. Feel free to use it if it's still usable. I think it's 12 months of Xbox Live. I'm sure I would have used it when I got the Xbox for Christmas, but yeah, it's funny. I got my Xbox One actually one Christmas later than the Xbox One came out, and I still got a day one thing, so I don't know why that happened. But anyway, I got it. That's pretty cool. And then on the day that I got my Xbox One, it came with a couple of games. It came with Forza Motorsport 5. Blew my mind when I played this game how realistic it was. I couldn't even understand how games could look so good. We got Need for Speed Rivals. I don't think I ever played it. And we have Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So I played the first 4 Assassin's Creed games, right? 1, Brotherhood, Revelations, 2. We talked about at the beginning of this video. I skipped 3, and then this one came into my pocket. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag is a tremendous game. It is a better pirate game than it is an assassin game, but it's a tremendous pirate game. And, you know, they tried to capitalize on this success with, I mean, they got Skull and Bones that they're working on right now. Sea of Thieves is massively popular right now. There was something here, and they did a really good job. And it's too bad they never really capitalized on it, but, yeah, I had a great time with this game. Again, never finished it, but I had a good time. And that's my physical collection. After those 3 Xbox One games, I bought all of my games digitally. They're all just on the software. And so it sucks, but, you know, it's nice that I have this at least. It's from my childhood. I have something to hold on to. It wasn't sold away or given to somebody else or anything like that. And I'm going to miss having this kind of thing. You know, I might one day return to physical media, but I'm traveling soon. I wouldn't love to have this for every single console that I have. You know, I think I own so many games. I have like 1,000 games on Steam and on PC. Like, I wouldn't be able to keep all of that, right? So anyway, I think it was very fun to go through these. Thank you for watching. If you've made it all the way through to this video, to the end of this video, ended up going way longer than I expected. I'm recording for 1 hour and 20 minutes now. I made some pauses in there, so I don't know how long the end video is going to be, but hope you enjoyed going through my childhood and my stories, and this was very, very fun for me. You know, I was going to just do this on my own, but I think actually talking through all of these games have given me some memories that I wouldn't have done just by quickly flipping through them. So I'm happy I did that, and I'm happy I have these games. I think it's really cool. So once again, thank you for making it to the end. It's greatly appreciated if you are here. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. I don't really intend on making more YouTube videos. I think it's easier to make YouTube videos when you have physical media to point to, right? It could be like, oh, look at this cool thing. Nowadays, I just have a Steam code. But anyway, I'm going to get going. Thanks for being here, and until next time, happy gaming, everyone.